the show go. Oh, very good. Well, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome one and all for our wild card open mic here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. I have a new deck of cards for today, and it is it's a deck of cards that we got for my father, and it's a large deck. The cards are larger than the normal size. And I thought this would be a perfect thing to bring into the new year. A beautiful big deck of cards for our wild card open mic. As you know, if it's the third Sunday, it's our wild card where we feature 12 poets who'll be reading for up to 5 minutes apiece, and we do our very best to get in as many voices as possible in the wild card open mic. So I look forward to this next 90 minutes, hearing as much poetry as possible. I'm your host, Sandy Yannone. I will do my absolute best to keep the poetry flowing throughout the afternoon. And thanks first to Don Krieger and to all our support behind the scenes here, for particularly because we don't have our intrepid Kim Porch Parsons with us today to keep the list. So again, we're really looking forward to the reading today, and let's get started, folks. That's what we're here for, is to hear the poetry. And we begin, and I'll encourage people to please say your name and please say where you're joining from, in addition to anything else you'd like to add. And our first reader today is the amazing Alexandra Psaropoulou from the Flying series. Thanks for being with us, Alexandra.
Thank you. Okay, just making sure that
Yeah, we got it. We see it.
you,
There
can
it is.
you see it going by? You see all the cards going by, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're seeing the images go by.
Great.
Looks beautiful as usual.
Line 14. Bring it on, life, every precarious safe haven, every toiling accomplished goal. Arcadians, children of the pre-lunar era. Your struggles, my struggles, entwining around each other. Pain sweetening through sharing. Waiting through centuries of darkness for a miracle to shine. Beams of dreams escaping the narrow bars of reality. Our labored sweat, our bitter patience, dissolving our struggles into the salt of the tear. Bring it on, life, every shatterable righteous law, every daggered, jubilant victory. Agatho demons, children of the absolute word. Your truths, my truths, powering around each other. Eternal debt for the unjust. Eternal gratitude for the just. Lightning condemnation of injustice. Defying mortality, determined to win all battles. Fiery anger, sung by muses. Kindling our truths into the tip of the flame. Bring it on, life, every fluctuating precious bond, every undulating sweet desire. Heteroluminescence, children of the solar cosmos. Your light, my light, shimmering around each other. Distancing in cold alienation, connecting in warm communion, our sacred mating reflecting infrared wavelengths, invisible bright frequencies, shapes and colors becoming visible, absorbing and transmitting photons, rippling our light into the foam of the wave. Bring it on, life, every delicate, fine-spun artistry, every frenzied, blissful awakening. Dionysians, children of a primordial orbit, your passions, my passions, creating around each other. Art flooding with hues of emotions, every aesthetic touch guaranteeing endless splendor. Ideal voices and thoughts, soaring like seagulls between land and sea, carrying elevated ideas through space and time, raising our passions into the upsurging of the spirit. Bring it on, life, every vulnerable, steadfast vision, every evanescent, ultimate flight. Apollonians, children of the winged evolution, your quintessence, our quintessence, goldening around each other. Thank you.
That's Alexandra Psaropoulou from the Flying series, everyone, number 14. And joining us from the beautiful, beautiful country of Greece. Thank you so much, Alexandra.
Thank you.
Late in the time zone, in the time zones.
Yeah, it's late.
Always appreciate your voice. Well, we are so happy to welcome back after a hiatus our dear, dear Pratibha Castle.
Thank you so much. So great to be back with you. I'm going to read, thank you. I'm going to read three little poems that revolve around family, really. My childhood, my mother, and my son. The first one is called Sherbet Lemons. First week at St. Anne's, and Sister Bridget summons me to stand before the blackboard where I read my gold star essay to the class. In the back with Jane, who Chinese burns the little girls in lower infants. Alice chews her plait, sniggers at my Dublin brogue. Shartara is a beauty spot near Kells. In the bedsit over tea, Mammy flicks a fly off the scallions and tomatoes. Fusses, why the tears, McCree? When I reject my boiled egg in its Peter Rabbit cup, malign my plate with crumbled scone, words gagging in my throat like sherbet lemons. So I cannot say, I miss my daddy. Thank you. Knickers. By the river Liffey, she stepped out of satin knickers, sighing like peachy petals about her ankles, elastic, growing lax, having let her down. Second sibling out of 10, and wise to the workings of a secret, she chuckled, and stifling the memory of a nun's echoing scold, stuffed them, her touch ambiguous as roses, into a cardigan pocket, together with a ladybird brushed unseen of her Mary Janes. dismissive of the unmaking inherent in a ladybird hex, she strode forth with a flounce of chestnut hair, flushed cheeks, on the arm of the young man who would be my father, across grudging grass, into a future fragrant, green as a whispering willow's promises divined from the morning's dregs. That girl's laugh, her shadowy tales persist, coast with a hawk on silent currents, sustenance for a skylark's silvery beck. Eulogies of a universe where love is endless song and no sour notes. And the last poem, thank you. It's called Levin, and it's inspired by my son. And there's an Irish word, McCree, and it means my darling or of my heart. Kneading dough, she hums to Joni's ladies of the canyon, fashions loaves to match her swollen belly, cossets an aching back, marvels at the mystery to come, a tiny Buddha who will tutor her in spells, ocean Kaylee, elegies of stones. Acorn tales unfiltered as the vinegar of apples seethed by bees. A wonder she will bind in scents of roses, milk, a snow lace shawl crocheted by a failing aunt in fading black with no one left to pamper. Acolyte in a sisterhood of mole-eyed girls, she will tender muslin, balm, little finger tipped in honey for a first sweet taste. She taps crusts as if entreating entrance into a temple to be blessed, feigns deafness to siren fears of the unknown, chuckles at a jumping being jab beneath her ribs, coaxes loaves out of their tins as if coaxing them from cradles, murmurs, "Come to me, McCree." Thank you so much.
That's Pratibha Castle, everyone. Always a joy to have you on the program, everyone. It's our wild card open mic. I'm not going to draw cards today for each of you, just because I want to keep as much time as possible for the reading. I'm so glad to see now former poet laureate of Albuquerque, Mary Oishi, welcome. Looking forward to hearing your poems today.
Thank you, Sandy. The first two are new. Grandma's Old Song. Today she fell asleep on my shoulder, nuzzled into my neck, her little hand outside my voice box to bring the strains of my songs into her dreams. She sleeps like she knows she can trust me. She doesn't understand my words, just my meaning when I tell her, everything's gonna be okay. Don't worry, you're with Grandma now. I'm gonna take good care of you. Everything's gonna be okay. She relaxes deeper into my neck, deeper and deeper into restful sleep, all of her precious weight on me, sinking into the embrace of the foremothers who caressed her before she came. In my arms, caress her still. This is Grace Not So Amazing. At the end of our phone call, she said, I'm sorry I vented all this on you. I've been thinking how I would be had I, heaven forbid, lost my only daughter. wondering if I would be like that Uvalde teacher's husband, not even make it to the memorial. Or maybe like that mother I saw years ago, rocking and rocking, just staring into the numb after losing her son. Don't apologize, I said. In fact, for the next 5 years, I don't want you to apologize to me for anything at all. Do whatever you need to do. Her halting thank you told me, when hanging by a thread, even grace can knock you down. This is for Wanda Cooper Jones. She's the mother of Ahmaud Arbery. It's a Tonka. Mother who never wanted this mountain to climb holds the scene of him, first time in her arms, and climbs until Merrick Garland cries. And that will be in my book that's coming out this fall from UNM Press called Sidewalk Cruise Ship. And so will this one. High spark of low heeled. There she is on the corner of Broadway and Lomas, dancing, wrapping her arms around herself, throwing them open to the sky, shouting commands to the drivers, waiting for the light to change. Grand sweeping motions for them to go, go. Back to dancing, wrapping her arms around herself, throwing them open to the sky, singing out the descriptors of her jumbled world to the indifferent day. She's out of her mind, they think. A fleeting dismissal, green light, and they roll past, glad their doors auto-lock. I miss the first light. She makes no eye contact, calls instead to the drifting cloud that pays no mind on its way to the mountain. What trauma put her there, incoherent on the corner? What horrors made her hold herself, abandon, spinning out back in like that? What keeps her dancing, embracing herself and reaching, still sparking too high to step off the curb? Do I have time for one more short one? Okay, this is called Prophecy. A Diné poet, mother, multimedia artist told me today that according to the indigenous calendar, we're about to leave what she calls hell cycles, enter the cycle she and her people call heaven, when the Pleiades is directly overhead. It will get worse before it gets better, but by 2038, the mixed people, and look at us, we're all mixed, the mixed people will take us back to living with the earth again. So says the prophecy, she said, smiling down at her boy. So says the prophecy, rebeats my weary heart, weary of the cycles of pandemic hell, of conspiracy hell, of mass shootings hell, of history erasing hell, hell after hell. But so says the prophecy. So says the prophecy, carries me like a refrain, glowing, warming my winter heart, waiting for the mixed grandchild who will bring heaven on earth for me this year, no matter where the Pleiades appears on the night of her birth. Perhaps she will help take us back. Perhaps by 2038, she and all the mixed peoples of earth will usher in the heaven cycles. At least, so says the prophecy. Who am I to disbelieve? Thank you.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you so much, Mary. That's Mary Oishi, folks, and make sure we get you on your new book showcase, Mary. All right, folks, I'm moving us along as rapidly as I can for me. Next, we'll hear from Lenora Good, and I want to encourage you, please remind us where you're joining us from so everyone knows. And also, thanks to everyone for putting your wonderful comments in the chat. Leave the joy and the love for everyone in the chat as they're reading. Take it away, Lenora.
Hi, I'm coming from Kennewick, Washington. I live in the desert side. We get about the same amount of rain that they get in Mary's hometown. I'm going to read 3 poems from my book, The Bride's Gate, and Other Assorted Writings. This I wrote after my daddy died. Isn't this 4 o'clock in the morning? You call the aides, complain of back pain, shortness of breath. Ever the gentle man, you apologize for disturbing them. Ever the wit, you lay in your bed and smiled. Isn't this a hell of a way to go? You chuckled and quietly died, leaving us too stunned to grief for hours, perhaps days and maybe years. And yes, it was a hell of a way to go. Years too soon as far as I care, but God never asked my input. I never got to say goodbye except to a cold, oh so cold and smirking corpse that didn't hear. I never got to hug you one last time or tell you yet again, I love you. Instead, I write poems when I can see the paper through my tears. It isn't fair, you know. Life isn't fair. And yes, it was a hell of a way to go. And this one is about a little town not too far from Albuquerque called Cuba. Pilgrimage to Cuba, New Mexico. I hear the clang of metal on metal inside the small gas station parked between the desert and blazing hot Cuba. I do the I gotta pee really, really bad dance as I enter the dark building. Barely glancing at me, he points to the restrooms. I catch the perfume of hot bread, pause long enough, even in my agony, to ask, do I smell fry bread? He nods, takes my order. I dash to the ladies' room. I return as he grabs the bottle of honey. He is shocked when I ask him to leave it off. I have a long drive ahead, I offer by way of explanation. He does not understand the soul catawba, but the customer is always right, even when she is so obviously wrong. He gets a smile and a tip. I get a shy grin from a most handsome Navajo warrior as he hands me the best fry bread I've ever eaten. He doesn't know I drove more than 1,000 miles for this.
Yep.
It's the Chaco Bar and Grill. No, the Chaco Grill in Cuba. My last poem is Oh Death.
Right.
Is my housemate cutting in?
Right.
Yes.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Can you hear me over him?
We can.
It's a little distracting. We want to hear you.
Thanks. Oh, death. We have met so many times as I sat with family of blood, of choice. I do not fear you, for I have seen the way you come, the way you seek permission, make sure their bags are packed, their goodbyes are said, and they are ready. I have seen firsthand your gentleness, your caring, your patience. I appreciate you, Death, as lover, as friend. I love how you bring those long departed loved ones to help, to ease the final journey. I know it helped my mother to have her mother come, take her hand, show her the way. I love how you care for these, my family of blood, my family of choice. But when you come for me, oh death, well, I have a favor to beg, if I may be so bold. Should you ride your stallion, oh death, may I sit in front so I can see as you hold me in your arms? And may we please race across the prairies and into the stars? I have never ridden a racing horse except in my imagination. I will not fear, for you will hold me. Oh, death, do you know how much I love dance? Do you know what a klutz I am when you come for me? Will you bring me rhythm and dance me out the door on your stallion? I so want to dance just once and not step on my partner's toes, nor trip nor stumble. Dance with me, oh death, I beg you. My death, as we ride through the heavens, will you touch my throat and loose it and teach me song? Will you empty that proverbial bucket filled with notes and tunes down my throat? Allow me to sing all the happiness and joy within me. Oh, my death, when the time comes, will you sit outside my window as Brother Owl and call my name that I may hear? I do not fear your arrival. In fact, I'm quite curious about it. How will you come? What will you look like? How shall I dress for that date? But Death, I am in no hurry for that final dance, so it's okay if you want to wait a while. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Lenora Good, everyone. And so appreciate having your voice here from, we share the same home state currently, Washington. Joining us from Washington. Everybody, just a reminder, keep your comments in the chat coming, and it's our wild card open mic. And we're almost halfway through our featured readers, and then we'll be moving on to our very robust list of folks waiting to have a single poem in. Next, we'll hear from Michael LaBombarda, followed by Bill Nevins. Michael, welcome. So glad you're here with us today.
Thank you. Came out in 2022. It's available on Amazon. The Gift. Walking down a city street on my way to eat, I came upon a lovely tree most unexpectedly. Oh, tree, you look so strong, lifting your showy limbs every day, but I know it won't be very long till you have your flowers on display. Your red berries will last longer and seem much stronger than the turned leaves that perish when November winds do flourish. Soon the dry cold air will make you despair, and you will be half your size until in spring you self-realize. You are not alone to talk to me, a lone, elegant, and beautiful tree, said the hawthorn. I responded, humbly accept this gift I offer so, the gift of poetry to few bestow. There's the surprise. Quietly as if tipping
Michael, you might be covering your microphone. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you might be covering your microphone, and if not, you're cutting out a little bit, so you might want to turn your camera off. There we go. Sorry.
Surprise. Quietly as if tiptoeing on the balls of my feet, I suddenly appear by your side, and reaching over the years of misunderstandings between us, it's fate with a soft kiss planted on your cheek, and you say, yes, it's about time they planted the tulips on the dividers along Park Avenue. And I realized my kiss was accepted for what it was, a simple kiss of respect and salutation with a coy hint of reconciliation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's Michael LaBombarda. Thank you, Michael. And Michael's been a member of the group for quite a long time in our history of the group, and a very hearty poster. So it's so nice when we get to hear your voice. Truly the gift of poetry, as you mentioned, as was one of the lines in your poems today. Thank you, Michael. Well, we get to go back to, I believe probably you're in New Mexico, but back to New Mexico, I believe, with Bill Nevins. Always a joy to have you on the program. Thank you, Bill.
Wonderful to be here. Thanks a lot, Cindy. Hey, yeah, we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where the sun is out, but it's kind of cold right now. So here we go. I'm only going to read one poem, but it's a long one. Bit of preface. You know, Bob Dylan used to tell a story before he sang "Blowing in the Wind" about how One time, Bob met a doctoral candidate in a very prestigious university who kept telling Dylan he didn't understand the song. And he asked Dylan why Blowing in the Wind was the answer to all those questions that were being asked. And the guy said, I don't understand why I have to go outside and blow into the wind. Dylan just laughed and snorted and said, that guy's going to be a teacher. Can you believe that? And then Dylan just started singing, how many roads? So here's my poem. Epigraph. Ride on, see you. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. Jimmy McCarthy and Christy Moore sang that. My poem is that perfect pancake poem. Crush that metaphor for GZ. You have nothing to lose but your brains. I take no damn prisoners. She, they coyly snort. Well, what could I say? She, they was halfway to their post-modern lit PhD. And we met on that Logos dating app for lonely lefty sorts that's based out of Rutgers, or is it Santa Fe? She styled herself, your revolutionary friend. I said I write poetry and had a rebel heart to lend. Don't hand me that line, she snapped at me online before our unavoidable offline date. I've read Rumi, Ginsberg, and Mary Oliver too. I even hung out with Ocean Wang and Rupi Kaur a diverse night or two. And your ragged dreck doesn't come close. It don't hardly rate. She had feral eyes that flashed as she snarled, poets, don't tell me about poets. Let me tell you a thing or three about poets. Poets are worse than lawyers, worse than COVID, worse than insurance salesmen. They should be banished like Ovid, because poets are worse than mosquitoes, worse than those flying cucarachas, worse than Chinese sweatshops and a jock's stinky socks, even worse than traffic cops. All poets should have their poetic licenses revoked. They con you into thinking that their slimy words are law. Worse than that, they think their poems are as true as news. Poets don't give a good shake of a donkey's broken jaw about your finely honed analytical mind and your transformational neo-Marxist views. Poets make up stories, she complained. Stories about the anarchist painters who refuse to take cash from the cruel corporate state and live in cardboard boxes under bridges, without canvas stretchers, without canvases, without grants, without patrons, without studios, without berets, without brushes, without paint, painting in blood with their bare feet. Poets barely ever work, she fumed. It's all about the words for them, she ranted. Sweet, sticky words. They soak into your ears like syrup soaks a pancake and smothers all the flavor of the pancake itself. Poets, they make everybody else taste what they taste, she sighed. I really, really hate poets weeping, she cried. First thing, after the revolution comes, we'll kill all the poets, she hissed. And then, of course, As if you didn't guess, we kissed without so much as a by your leave. And ain't that what we met for? The priest in confession condemns me obsession with thoughts that I didn't invite. I mumble and shudder, he slams down the shutter. Good night. Cheers, slanch. More power to your elbows.
That is the one and only Bill Nevins. And as I can't even believe it, Bill, on my table here with me, I just happen to have a recipe book from Polly's Pancake Parlor, as if I was waiting for, unbelievable. Very, very rare. I get to just like, oh yeah, thank you so much. Well, I believe that Don maybe meant to type in on my list to me Martina McGowan, but wrote down Martina McBride. And I don't think Martina McBride is with us today.
Oh, unfortunately, Sandy, neither of them will be reading today.
That's what I thought. So I'm just like, right, okay. So I just wanted to let folks know Martina McBride is not in the house, but we're very happy to have Martina McGowan in the house. Thank you so much. We're going to move next to Regina Garcia. And moving along here, it's our wild card open mic. And well, with Bill Nevins, it's always a wild ride. It's been a wild card already. Thank you, everybody. Take it away, Regina.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Regina Garcia from Greenville, North Carolina, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. I've always heard good things about cultivating poetry. I have a couple of North Carolina friends who've been here before, so I'm just excited to be here. I'll be reading two, maybe three, depending upon how the time works out. But these first two will actually be from my upcoming book, The Fire Talker's Daughter, currently in pre-sale. So I'll drop that in the chat as well, published by Finishing Line Press. And I begin with the title poem, The Fire Talker's Daughter, because many people don't understand what a fire talker is or what she does. So this gives that little background. The Fire Talker's Daughter. My mother taught the fire out of burns, eased the pain, as did her father, as did his mother, as does my son, as will his daughter. It had to pass me by, as I was not a man-child. Yet my mother looked at me like I was sun in the sky, like I was promised. She said that while I would not have that gift, I would have a great many, and even though I couldn't talk it, I most certainly carried it, power. I entered the world very tiny and gray with a gray ring around my brown eyes, said I was scrawny with bright eyes that had seen before. Mama said a great many long gone spirits dwelled where I was born, and when it was time to leave that place, she was well ready to go. They worried her incessantly. She told me many other things like how great aunties Hat and Act were healers, and women would come to them for many an unknown ailment, and how God put these abilities in us because of what God knew we would need to survive, for our families to survive, for our people to survive. My mother marched in the movement. My mother educated the masses. My mother spoke the fire. But sometimes my mother held her tongue. My mother can no longer tell me anymore about these truths I have discovered are very real. That is to say, that she lives, but she cannot say. Sometimes her tongue gets confused. Sometimes her tongue is at rest. I cannot talk the fire, yet I am fire. I know this, because she told me so. Truth. Voice. I have screamed for an eternity, and sometimes it has been powerful and terrible. It has moved the danger away. I have raised my torch and dared anybody to silence me. I have bared pointed teeth, saliva pouring down my chin, eyes bulging, feet ready to run and jump and kick. I am the sound, I am the rage, yet sometimes I am tired, frightened, no, deathly afraid. I have called upon my mother spirits, those assigned to me to hold back the devils that have come for me, come for my children, the greatest sources of my fear, feeling the wind and wave of their hands as they dodge my grasp. My old woman spirit guides have heard my entreaty and arrived, pocketbook handles in the crooks of their arms. They sung holy war songs and done ring dance and lit fires to purge my fear and sacrificed it on the altar of womanhood. No room for it, fear in blackness. No room for it, fear in womanness. What a tragic combination of expectations. For a time, I thought I could fear without fear. Turns out that I cannot have those moments. Got to put on my good Black woman, grease her down, smother her in high blood pressure, cook her down in bad cholesterol, band her like a tumor and stand like it's no matter. Yet I am matter, I am water, I am blood, I am bone, I am skin, I am eyes. I am limbs, I am lungs, I am ears, I am heart, I am weeping doubt, I am fire. My tough old women don't care. Better crazy than crying. My old woman spirits have told me that I must be strong. That's what the stars told them. They have lived it. They know. No pallets to rest. The charges given me. My last poem. Do I have time for one more?
Yeah, let's hear a second one. Thank you. Yeah, you have time.
Okay. Stars and sin. Looking at stars is sin. I am born in sin. I'm looking at stars to find myself, to find my way, to find an answer, to find the voice in the stars. Many of the righteous followed the stars, found Jesus following stars. What a journey, looking at stars to find their way, to hear that voice, to see it clear. Mama Harriet looked at stars. Mama Harriet knew God, the God she knew. You think that God is your God too? Sounds good to say it, but her God was in the night air and in her mind and in those stars. Have you looked at what happens when you look at stars? Looking at stars has slowed death. Looking at stars has saved lives. Not looking, though, sometimes meant not living. Telling me not to look at stars, telling me not to live, telling me to lower my eyes, telling me to hear your Jesus. Is my Jesus your Jesus? My Jesus was born under the stars. Ain't no sin in him. My Jesus was born under the stars. Ancient books say that his star shone brightly above him. Folks have walked for years guided by the stars, but now messages from the stars are devilish. Stars worship God even better than flesh. Line up and listen, better than flesh. I look at stars, that makes me sin. I look at stars. They are messengers of science and salvation because they know God. And I want God to show me the way. And I want God to keep me whole. Thank you.
Well, we are glad that you came out with the stars today, Regina. Woo! Thank you for your voice, and thank you for being part of Cultivating Voices. live poetry today. We look forward to the next time you join us, and welcome for your first reading. Folks, it's our wild card open mic. And oh my gosh, the stars, the sun, all of it's coming out today. We move next to Patricia Carragon. Great to have you with us on the program today.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Year to cattle, the year to rabbits, depends on how you look at it. Two poems on the feminist side. The Bride, this is a revise of an ancient poem I wrote 20 years ago. The Bride Wore Black. The bride had no choice but to wear black on her wedding day. Why wear white when it will show four-lettered filth? She walked down an aisle non-existent, carrying not a flower or weed. No guests were present, nor a groom to welcome her heart. Even God was not around to witness her vow. Solitude presided over the ceremony. She said I do, blowing a kiss to herself, untouched by a circle of gold. The single woman, now married to herself, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death. Thank you. Deja vu. It happens every New Year's Eve. It's always at the same restaurant. 20 Cinderellas sit at tables set for two. Their thoughts move like minutes, anxious for love to strike before midnight. Plates and wine glasses occupy their tables. Knives, forks, and spoons wrapped in napkins wait for action. On each plate, a box of Happy New Year condoms. In each vase, a single red rose keep the women company. The scene is the same each year except for fashion, aging, and newcomers. Only a few will toast the new year with a mate. I'm one of these 20 women. Our faces are lined with screwed up stories. I sit before my rose, observing the quiet desperation. My smile conceals my anxiety. I take out my compact and lubricate my lips. I see the same desperation on my face. The rose is in Prozac withdrawal. My watch reads 11:35 p.m. Two of the newcomer women are leaving. Their 20-something smiles radiate. Their Prince Charmings did arrive before midnight. But how long will their lip gloss, condoms, and euphoria last? My rose is in striptease mode. It will be January 1st in a few minutes. No one has entered the restaurant since those two women left. I decide to leave. As I rise, the tablecloth slides. The plate, wineglass, and vase crash. The knife, fork, and spoon scatter. The condom, box, and napkin bathe in wine. My rose lies naked on the floor. I exit the restaurant. At the sports bar next door, the ball drops on a flat screen TV. I head for the subway and crowd in with the drunks. Leaning against the door, I zone out the noise. My thoughts tell me not to return, but that was last year's resolution and the years before. Thank you.
Here's the last year's resolutions. Thank you. That's Patricia Carragon, everybody. Always, always crowd pleaser. Thank you. Thank you from the Brownstone in New York. Well, our next reader, Mari Maxwell, love you. You've been with us forever too. And I love it when you come and read with us. But also you're such a devoted poster member, But it's always just a treasure when we get to hear from you. So thank you for bringing your voice today to the Wildcard Open Mic.
Thank you, Sandy. It's so good to be here. And Happy New Year, everybody. What a night, my God. What an amazing amount of readers here. This has been incredible. I'm going to read 2 poems. The first one is called New England Maple Sunday. And strangely enough, some people in Maine are starting to boil the sap because the trees are, I guess it's everything to do with climate change, and things are just way ahead of themselves. This would normally happen in March, but here we are, it's January. New England Maple Sunday. On a day like this, clouds hanging low, the air still, a whisper of waiting, a shift in the pines, and a slate mackerel sky. Frozen tableau, then a moat, a lonesome snowflake or two, flurries, the rockabye baby sway in the sky kind. It's then you know spring is sloughing winter's skin. Across the fields and ruts, tin pails and ribbons of tubing tango, pirouette at dawn, a tap, tap, tapping seeks a vein, milking the sap ounce by ounce to where it plinks in the pail below. All night steam and smoke belch, cajole the sweet juice. The fruits of frigid nights and warm days spread over hot coals. Our winter days are numbered with the promise of mud season and frost heaves. 6 short weeks before the maple buds appear and the mighty bark begins to heal. The Native American bartered this bounty, but here, in the sugar shack, we suck ice cream and syrup. Our tongues freeze and burn in the shifting seasons. And this one is called At the Spanish Arch, which is here in Galway. Well, actually, I'm based in Mayo. Sorry, I forgot to say that. I'm based in Mayo in Ireland, but this is based at the Spanish Arch. The pigeon lady spreads her seed from a plastic carrier bag, tumbling grits that stir the air with rustle and feather, coos and struts. She arches her arms, conducts the flock, tut-tuts at sprinting kids who'd watch them wheel and cry, lift away into summer sky. There is dreaming to be done at the banks of the river. Swans on the outside, swans on the inside, single file and pas de deux, figure skating, upriver and down, beaks tapping on the corrib, tugging at the greens. A snort from pen and cob keep the bevy in line, 23 in all at last count. Across the Claddagh Basin, a fiddler raises his bow, bends to the strings. An accordion player squeezes melodies and the cormorant dives deep. The swans waltz upriver, tails twitching to the fiddler's tune. And I am dreaming at the bank of the river. Thank you.
Oh, it's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Mari Maxwell, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ooh. 2 poems about maple syrup today. Amazing. Well, again, I'm working hard to move us along because we have a very robust waiting list, as you see in the chat, everyone. And welcome also to those of you listening from Facebook, as well as our fabulous array of poets that are with us here in Zoom. And those of you who are now listening to this on the recording, I also like to give a shout out to those of you who watch us during the week or weeks past the live reading. We move next. We have so many. We have a number of folks from different countries representing the reading tonight, and So I'm so glad, of course, to have David Brydges joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, I'm coming from Cobalt, Canada. I have one short poem to read, and it has a syrupy theme. Last month at a Zoom open mic, a poet referenced a peach and a woman, which triggered a volcanic memory of a woman and a peach. Lady Peach. The subway stops at Queen's Park in Toronto. The doors open, and a tall, dark-haired, well-dressed woman strides into the car, standing across from me. Pulls out a peach from her purple purse. Slowly brings to her lips with such nonchalant elegance. Takes a deep bite as the juice drips down her neck, trickles inside her white blouse, candy coating her left nipple. Does anyone see the train car steam up except me? I look around and there's no response to a radical act of sweet indifference. Am I a lone voyeur in this bold spectacle? She keeps biting and sucking peaches, fluids drizzily licking her face. That's fuel burning my frenzied eyes with astonishment. Stunned, I try not to stare. But oh, to be a peach that day. I am juiced beyond measure. I had never seen a woman eat a peach in public. What a ride.
I would have a hard time, David, not watching also that the deliciousness of watching the consumption of that peach. That's David Brydges, everyone. Thank you so much. Well, again, our wild card open mic has lived up to the billing. Our final feature, we're doing so great on time, folks, is Cat O'Neill McCullagh. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you on the program today.
Hello, Sandy. Blana Vaur, that's Gaelic for Happy New Year to everybody from the Highlands of Scotland. I'm on the north shore of the Cromarty Firth. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and to be back and to see and hear so many new faces and voices too. What a great evening. So without too much, oh, it's an evening here, by the way. It's about 9 p.m. just now here in Scotland. So without too much further ado, I'm going to read a poem that was published last year by Poets Republic. It's a poem that commemorates an anniversary, and in every year, every day will be an anniversary. This is a poem I wrote around the 24th of February last year, and it's called Turning Sunwise. I wake and remember that we will hear no sirens. And hands hungry, I lift your unwalked feet, drunk on the futures that will unfold their fatness, forgetting they will march the lines our fathers scored across her mother's lands. Trespassing the hush of your dreams, I break the night's fast of words, knowing they will not be our last. Under fire, I name the untethering of people and places, coax you from sleep into this glittered loiter of morning sun. We share battalions of bread, soaked ochre in burst yolks. Silent, the screen watches as mothers wrap bairns in unyields of swaddling. I tell you, today we will not run. Our names will not be among the listed lost. I promise we will hear the white stork sing. In the city, a mother surveys her child's body, surrendering to gentle crusades of fresh, dimpled flesh, swathing peach tender heels, lamb soft, enfolded, her tongue, her lips, kissing history into the slumbered welcome of infant ears. Her language already retreating, raised, hearth-born litanies, raised to forgetting. She recites fragrance, taste, essence, Dnieper corn, Carpathian walnuts, cherries of Azov. Spilling not one, she sows sunflowers, seeding canopies of unceasing hope, weeping shields of love. She recalls the daylight, always turning sunwise, for this is what the living do. I wake and remember that we will hear no sirens. In the city, a mother surveys her child's body, and hands hungry, I lift your unwalked feet, surrendering to gentle crusades of fresh, dimpled flesh, drunk on the futures that will unfold their fatness, swathing peach tender heels, lamb soft enfolded, forgetting they will march the lines our fathers scored across her mother's lands, her tongue, her lips, trespassing the hush of your dreams, kissing history into the slumbered welcome of infant ears. I break the night's fast of words, knowing that they will not be our last. Her language already retreating, under fire, hearth-born litanies raised to forgetting. She recites fragrance, taste, essence. I name the untethering of people and places. Dnieper corn, Carpathian walnuts, cherries of Azov. Coax you from sleep into this glittered loiter of morning sun. Spilling not one, she sows sunflowers. We share battalions of bread soaked ochre in burst oaks, seeding canopies of unceasing hope. Silent, the screen watches as mothers wrap bairns in unyields of swaddling, weeping shields of love. I tell you, today we will not run. Our names will not be among the listed lost. She recalls the daylight. I promise we will hear the white stork sing, always turning sunwise, for this is what the living do. Thank you. Now, I have 30 seconds. Do I have time for a wee shorty? Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much. It's a poem that appeared in an anthology on Pages Shared with the amazing Kevin Higgins, and I'm just remembering him with all of you tonight. The Blue Note. Hopeful for summer that you always bring, I take the heat of your hand to my neck, to my mouth. I lift the blood-warm calf's milk, cupped from a can, and in the tides before us, Rathlin drifts to dawn. I lean into the lean legs of you to listen as you tell it to me, that music of the Blue Note, the flattened curve of grief, it keens our hearts. And you say it is there in the wail of blind Willie Johnson, or when Ella tilts the chin, lifts open her eyes to sing. Ella looking to Duke, your eyes on me, and they are love singing the nearness of you. I feel it too, I whisper, just this brief trespass of words, and you and the milk sweet on my lips. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kat. Kat O'Neill McCullagh, everyone, and we talked about Kevin Higgins last week, whom we lost, and I know so many people are reeling. He's one of my salmon brothers, he and Susan, and I'd been to Galway. And I just want to let you all know that I'm hoping that at some point, and I'm gonna reach out to Susan, that we might be able to do a tribute reading for Kevin. There's so many of us that have a connection with him. So thank you for bringing him to the reading today with you. Well, folks, it's our wild card open mic. Here we are in the new year, and we have a very, very robust list on the wait list. So it's one poem a piece. If you get the shorter poems in, I can get as many people in on this list till we get to the half hour. So let's begin, and let me get out of the way and introduce first for you today the one, the only Swango. I'm so glad you're here tonight with us.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate the space, and greetings everyone. My name is Pongo. I come from Zimbabwe, but I live in Sierra Leone. Enough about that. I'm going to perform for you a poem taken off my first book, Trials. This is a really big copy I made for myself. The actual book does not look like this. The poem is titled Not Okay. I hope you enjoy it. You can die right now. My question to you is, what are you leaving behind? Will your children marvel at, or will they despise the choices you made for life? You can die right now. What are you leaving behind? Hello again, my name is Pongo, and no, I am not okay. I could write about it, talk about it, but those things will never change the fact that I am not okay. Forgive me if I cry in front of you right now. I do not mean to disgrace the African man. See, I can't keep locked inside all of this pain, this voices. Brush, please allow me to paint a picture so sexy to bring orgasms to your brain. A picture so beautiful, it portrays all of the African women who brought out the courage and broke out of the system, telling a girl story that goes far beyond the kitchen, telling a girl story that goes far beyond maternity ward, embracing their natural beauty the same way does other women. Did you know blacks only make up to 12% of the American population, but they consume close to 70% of American hair products? That's a statistic I found the other day, but it doesn't concern me because it will never change the fact that I am not okay. Back to me, I am not okay. I do believe with daily practices, I will be okay. Honestly, I practice this, and if you think it's not good enough, then yeah, that is okay. After all is said and done, your opinion will never change the fact that I am not okay. I could write about it, talk about it, sing about it, even rap about it. But if I'm one who's not dedicated, if I dream and I apply no action, I will forever slave behind those mental cages. I will forever blame it on my upbringing. I will forever blame it on the economy. So hell yeah, I practice this. I may not be okay, but I am practicing. If one day I do take my life, just know that I practiced it both in the mental and in the physical. Oh, I think I've said too much on practicing. You might not be okay, but please start practicing. Power to you. Thank you very much.
And power to you, my friend. That's Pongo joining us today. Thank you so much. Always love when you join us, either for our themed readings, our wild card open mic. Everybody, you're here joining us on Cultivating Voices, live poetry for our wild card open Mike. We have heard from a cavalcade of featured poets, and we now are in our bonus round. It looks like a couple of people on the waiting list are the next folks are not with us. So I'm going to move next to Jen Wang.
Hey, Sandy. I'm Jennifer Elise Wang, coming here from Dallas, Texas. I am going to read a poem I wrote. It was in honor of Constance Wu when she had released her book and talked about all of her struggles as an Asian American woman. And I just thought it was kind of appropriate since it's Lunar New Year. And then unfortunately there was the shooting in Monterey Park. So just thinking about the people there and kind of channeling some of that anger. So the poem is called Eye of a Tiger. Just because I play a tiger mom on TV and am equally fierce in real life doesn't mean I can't be hurt. Tigers are endangered after all, being hunted by men and sensitive to habitat destruction. Despite being a hustler and a trailblazer for Asian American girl bosses, or a diva as some would claim, I still have wounds and weaknesses. My fairy tale ended with the last cut, and I've relented to men with power. Because even crazy rich Asian women can lose the fortune, especially since less than 1% of us reach that top spot in the company, despite being in the top of our graduating class. A victim is not a model minority, and a survivor is a problem for making a scene. But I've had enough of being silent and supposedly grateful, so I'll sharpen my claws and tongue and carve my happy ending to my story.
Thank you so much for bringing the consciousness to the group today, Jen. And again, I'm always grateful when you're here on the program. Thank you so much. Everybody, as I meant, if I've skipped anybody inadvertently on the list as I'm moving through, just let me know, send me a quick message, but I think I'm on track with our waiting list appropriately. I am checking if folks are in the room with us before I mention your name. So next is Linda Wiodyka.
Hello.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, you're welcome. I haven't been in many months, probably
I
the
know.
summer.
I'm thrilled.
So I'm in Western Massachusetts. Actually, I'm closer to like Albany, New York than I am Boston. And the name of the poem I'm reading today is No Forgetting. His tongue is his poetry. I remember when he spoke, there was no paper, no pen, no forgetting. His announcement of autumn described shadows, how the sun shone, created elongated angles, different from summer. His recollection of a first snow, how snowflakes drift down to earth, how he explained that the snow was a blanket to cover Earth's nakedness. His long-winded description of Earth's inhabitants, how they stare, then retreat to their structure. Some have no shelter, always makes me self-aware of my own privilege. His ever fanciful yet intriguing lesson influenced the way I carried my emotion, the way I perceived what I used to not openly admit. My poetry benefited greatly from all that I borrowed from those days of his reckoning. The stage he built, his precipice, will be embedded forever in the mind of the girl he loves. Thank you.
Linda, Western Mass, Albany, Boston, wherever. Glad your voice is with us today. Thank you so much.
I'm glad to be here. It's been a wonderful reading. Thank you.
An amazing wild card open mic today. Thank you everyone for coming out. So many of you and just so many great poems and the diversity of voices and topics indeed. Wow, it's just been astounding. Well, next we get to hear from the wonderful Batt O'Connor. And I hope Batt is here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Sandy.
There
How are you doing?
Hi, Batt.
Great to see you. Great to see you. I'm coming to you from the banks of the Shannon River in Ireland. I was born on the banks of the Finglas River in the Dingle Peninsula in West Kerry. And if you want to see me live, come to Dolan's Bar in Limerick. I do a singing residency there every Friday night. Now that's my CV. This is called Sweet Nothings. Sweet nothings hang in the air, as if the world as we know it were not in danger. Dreams, uncertain, dreams that belong to themselves hang over us, as if something has come to light in our minds. Something outside a window that looks in on us. That looks in at us in the houses where our children sleep. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, it's interesting because as I mentioned in the chat, I've been to where you read. I love that space. I highly recommend folks, if you can get over to Ireland and hear the poetry, there's nothing like it. So thanks for bringing the poetry to us tonight. Well,
thank you,
next,
Sandy.
thank you. Next, again, I'm just really trying to move us through, and it looks like we'll get to everyone. Catherine Ronan joining us from Cork.
West Cork. Hi, everyone.
West Cork. Sorry.
Fantastic evening. Fantastic poetry all around. This poem I'm going to read was published in a World Transformed anthology, and it is about Brydges. Now, I won't say Saint Brydges because I like the pagan aspect of Brydges as well. So, and her feast is this week. I think it's Wednesday or Thursday. So this is called Rebirth. Fragile snowdrops peep with hope. Brydges brushes snow from their faces. Reeds rush to her nimble fingers. Oak offers her sap to drink. Fairy cows with red-tipped ears hear her birthing over 2 thresholds. Mountains shake, lick veins of their rivers. Liminal fire laughs eternal. Ribbons are tied to sacred trees. Secrets revealed in one knot. Frosty deep breath of love and hope. Crozier of green wish unfurls. Wolves are sent as white guides. Home with a sip of dandelion milk. Bucket full of springtide stars asleep on windowsills. Light to dark, womb to light. Every spring rebirth. Thanks, everyone.
Whoa, you just had a fire about you tonight. Oh, you just had the liminal fire about you tonight. Thank you. That's Catherine Ronan, everyone. Again, folks, we're reading in our wild card open mic here on Cultivating Voices live poetry. I feel like we're just getting through the entire deck of cards here. Just a few more readers to round us out for today. And next is Ken Burch. So glad you're here. And I'm glad we're able to get to our folks who had read previously. So it's been a great day. We get to hear everyone.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, everyone. Here in Olympia, on the west edge of town, a few blocks away from the Evergreen campus, which is where I think I may have encountered Sandy first. And this is a series of haiku form poems that form a continuous piece that I was just working on last night and today. Came to me from the other day when I was watching someone who has to sleep rough and was in a bad place and was trying to work out my relationship of him to me and sort of where we all connect in some ways. So I guess I'm calling it street coups. Early years, days, cold, dark, drench me in each step I take. Which will last erode? Not for too long. In a moment, I'll be warm, dry, in comfort wrapped. On a numbered street, in a place with cups of warmth, writing on my screen. As I pass that way, someone's once loved former child screams at none and all. Living sidewalk corpse, every word his bleeding wounds. What could be his balm? What had been his chance? Was there even one brief moment he had not been doomed? When did his doors close? Were they open even once? Doors at all, or walls? All his days, a war. Armies of resentment form, sworn to drive him out. How can he quite know which among those passing by might bring help or hate? I don't get too close, not sure just what he might do. Beg? Stab me? Worse or worse? And what if he did? Could I truly, fully say it was not my fault? I have lived my times, walking far too often past those not sure they'll live. I have passed out coins, bought a sandwich now and then walked further by. What if this should be? If I'm left locked out in night, who will walk past me? Thank you.
Great. I love that idea of the street coups. Thank you so much. That's Ken Burch, everyone. As I'm putting in the chat, my poetry neighbor here in Olympia, Washington. Well, it looks like we've done it. We're to our final reader for today. And it is the incomparable Harvey Soss, the Artful Dodger himself. Close us out, would you, Harvey? Ooh, Harvey, are you here?
Oh, yeah, there I am. Okay.
There you go. There you go. Just want to make sure you were unmuting. There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you so much.
The poem I'm going to read is a very short piece that I dashed off before this meeting started and hopefully put the finishing touches to during it. I also posted in the chat an invitation to our next Artful Dodgers poetry reading sometime in February. This is called The Cuckoo. Its reputation for manic behavior isn't deserved. A canard invented by some dull bird cashiered out of an ornithology class. Its call, distinguishably bold as a yodel, being one that other cuckoos can, and often do, respond to, prelude to intimate moments of reproduction. Oh, to be possessed of as constant a lover as a cuckoo is. And that's that.
Well, folks, that is Harvey Soss. Join Harvey for the Artful Dodger reading series. And be sure to check out all the other information that's in the chat. Hey, before I read the list of everyone, the amazing voices that we literally heard from all around the world today, would you please unmute and show your appreciation through some rousing applause and hoop and hollers.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Bravo.
What a night, people. Way to go.
What a night.
You're here, there.
Bravo.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you, everyone.
I love the song of everyone at the end of the readings always. I just love the exuberance. We heard today in our wild card open mic from Alexandra Psaropoulou, Pratibha Castle, Mary Oishi, Lenora Good, Michael LaBombarda, Bill Nevins, Regina Garcia, Patricia Carragon, Mari Maxwell, David Brydges, Cat O'Neill McCullagh, Pongo, Jennifer Elise Wang, Linda Wiodyka, Batt O'Connor, Catherine Ronan, Ken Burch, and Harvey Soss. This has been today. What a fabulous first wild card open mic of the new year. Gives me such promise for the rest of our wild card open mics that will be on the third Sunday of each month. Join us. We'll be on a little hiatus until now. February, as you know, we have the 3 readings every month now. The first is always our themed reading for the month of February. Coming up, the theme is voice, and we'll move to our new book showcase the second Sunday of February, and then we'll close out February with the third Sunday with our wild card open mic. So join us for 1, 2, or 3 of the next coming readings in February. In the meantime, folks, keep posting to our Cultivating Voices live poetry Facebook page. Be on the lookout and attend other readings from our fabulous members. There is never a shortage of readings to attend around the world from our membership. So we really appreciate you posting about those readings that you're not only hosting, but also participating in. And well, we did it somehow. Don and I managed to do it without Kim Ports Parsons today, but we send our best wishes to Kim. We're looking forward to her returning to join us in February, as well as I hope all of you will be back with us in a few weeks. Until then, everyone, take very, very good care of yourselves. Take exquisite care of your beloveds. And whatever you choose to write about, whether that be pancakes, maple syrup, the feminist initiative, so many things, empowerment, all of the vast things that we heard from today, the flying series, everything that we heard from each of our readers today, whether it's about the joys or the sorrow of living on this planet and our appreciation for this planet, I hope that you will just keep writing those remarkable poems in your remarkable voice. For Cultivating Voices live poetry, today in Olympia, Washington, but we've heard folks from all around the globe. I'm Sandy Yannone, your very humble host. I look forward to seeing you next time, with amazing thanks to Don Krieger. As always, we couldn't do it without Don. Have a great couple weeks, and we'll see you in February. Be well, everyone.